Hey everyone, welcome to Health Psych with Miss M. Today we're going to get into some neuroanatomy that's important in health psychology. So certain parts of the brain that are involved in stress, anxiety, and coping and things like emotion regulation. So first we have the limbic system, which lives sort of in the center of our brain. The limbic system is like our emotional brain. So it's responsible for memories and behaviors, like if you remember the fight or flight system. One key part of the limbic system is the amygdala. The amygdala processes emotional stimuli, and it also adds emotional meaning to our memories. So this can look like threat, fear, anxiety, but even pleasure. For example, this might look like emotions that come up for you when you hear an old song. The hippocampus is also important for memory formation, and eventually these become long-term memories that live throughout our cerebral cortex. So have you ever felt a strong association when you experience a certain smell? The hippocampus is also important for learning and even spatial orientation or having mental maps. So shout out to my dad who doesn't need a GPS to get around. Finally, my favorite part of the brain is the prefrontal cortex, or the PFC. So the frontal cortex is the part of the brain that lives at the frontmost part, and then the pre just means it's right at the front. So literally right behind our foreheads. And this part of the brain is involved in executive function. So things like judgment, planning, response inhibition, impulse control. So the PFC experiences prolonged development because our brains typically develop from the bottom and up. So some structures that are conserved across species are the more primitive ones involved in breathing and heart rate. And then as we get more advanced, for humans, that's where we get the PFC fully developing around our mid to late 20s, typically a little bit earlier for females compared to males. So these three structures, the amygdala, hippocampus, and PFC, have a lot of connections that communicate in processes of stress, anxiety, coping, and emotion regulation. So today we have a cameo. This is Sajjan. His PFC also lives behind his forehead, and his limbic system is on the side here. So let's say that Sajjan is sleeping and he hears a loud bang that wakes him up. So his heart rate goes up, he starts sweating, he gets out of bed and takes a look at what the problem is. And he finds out that it was just a dish that fell out of the dish rack. So he can take a deep breath, kick in his parasympathetic nervous system, and safely go back to sleep. So at first, when the loud bang woke him up, his amygdala hijacked his PFC. And that's where that threat responding came in, the fight or flight system kicked in. Once he saw that he was safe, that's when he was able to regulate his emotions with the PFC communicating with the amygdala and saying that everything was okay. And so if you like this type of content, stay tuned for more.